Steve Campbell.
We're ready?
Distributor.
All right. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Steve Campbell, and I'm wondering what in the hell am I doing here, right? How does a guy from a small rural town in Wisconsin end up in the south of France having these amazing conversations with these amazing people? Right? How does that come about? So I was just going to start, with the BioCoherence and how does this work and whatnot. Stephen with his Athuha?
Yes.
Anthuha, thank you. The video that Stephen made really got me to see the importance of people's stories and how did we get here. So many people have talked about synchronicities. Christine this morning talked about evolution. So I think my journey to get to this point right here really began with alcoholism. I went to treatment and I found I had been searching for what is God? What is my spiritual, where do I lie in that? And there was a slide in a presentation at treatment that said, Chi, universal life force energy. And it just hit me like that's what I believe, right? That's what I believe. And that led me to AA and the 12 steps, which I was very leery of for a long time because the God aspect, and I didn't know what the God aspect was for me. But the 12-step program for me is a guide for life. It basically is, all right, you had no idea what you were doing in your life prior to this, and now you have these steps that are telling you this is how you live your life. Great. That led me to, I'm going to use the word calling a lot during this presentation because I felt called to plant medicine. I felt called to ayahuasca. And in January of 2023, I went to Costa Rica to a resort. I went to a very nice place. I did not, for my first time experiencing that, did not want to take a canoe down a river and end up in some jungle hut. So I went to a very nice place. And they spent a lot of time talking to you about it, even before doing the ceremonies, of what to expect. And if you see a beautiful unicorn shitting rainbows over here, or you see the creepy dude over in the corner, go to the creepy dude. Right, because that's what you need to find. That's your fear. Those are your things that are causing you issues. And that experience for me was the way I describe it is it was the most terrifying thing that I could have ever possibly felt like I could have experienced. I was trying to play hide and seek with my childhood self, and I couldn't find them. And what led me to that point, there were 4 ceremonies that happened, 4 different nights. The first 3 nights, I didn't really experience much of anything. And I kept going back up for cups to get the medicine. And I didn't experience much. And the day before the final ceremony, they had classes. And someone had said something in a class, and it just struck me. I'm a caregiver. I take care of people. That's what I do. Right? I own group homes for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And there are 87 other people lying around me, puking, crying, screaming, dancing, laughing, all of it. And I could not relax. I wanted to take care of these people. So I made a decision in that class that I could either just go through one more ceremony and be a victim and not receive anything through this, or I could go up that evening and talk to the shaman. And that's what I chose to do. I told him this, so that I'm a caregiver. I'm not being able to let go. And he spoke with me for 10 or so minutes and was just so very kind. And I got up, I was standing in line, and he He was pouring every medicine in everyone's cup, and I got up there and he turned around and grabbed something different. I don't know what it was, some other mix of some kind. And the rest of that night, like I said, it was very terrifying. They kept coming to get me, and they'd take me into the center of the Maloka, and they were beating me with palm fronds, and the shaman was drinking things and spitting and chanting over me. And at the end, I was cowered in a ball. And just, the strangest thing was that I felt I could get out of this. If I don't want to be doing this anymore, I can get out. But I stuck with it. And that next morning, so I say it was the most fearful experience I've ever had, followed by the most intense love and peace that I could have ever imagined. I felt as though love was shooting out of my chest. That experience led me to be open to drum circles and things like that, where I met my friend TJ. That led me here to be standing and talking with all of you people. So the synchronicities that Leon was talking about, and the evolution that Christine was talking about, all these things that come together to get us to where we are. I would have never imagined I would be doing this with you people in my entire life. I would have never imagined that. But my aha moment with BioCoherence came. TJ introduced this to me. I started sitting in on the meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm like, I had to wonder, does this work? I mean, is this real? So I tried something with my 10-year-old daughter, Kate. I asked her to just sit there for a moment, and I told her I'm going to play a frequency. I didn't tell her what it was, so I turned it on. She sat there for a few moments, and all of a sudden she goes, I feel something right here. And I had played the kidney frequency. And it was just this, holy shit, this actually works. And I live in the woods where I live in Wisconsin, and there's a lot of deer ticks. And one day after a run that I took my dog on, I came back home and I played the deer tick frequency. And I literally witnessed 11 deer ticks trying to crawl off my dog. My daughter's dog at her mom's house had a deer tick embedded right in the corner of the eye, and I was just about to get a tweezers and try to dig at it, and I'm like, I'm just going to try the frequency. And I turned the frequency on, and the deer tick detached, so I wasn't sitting there with sharp objects trying to poke at this dog's eye, and moved away. And those experiences were just this eye-opening thank you. Because for me, a big part of my issue is our current medical system and the way it's designed to give you a pill and cover up any illness that you have, but it will not actually heal you. So I started delving into, how did this come about? And this is barely over 100 years old. Our current medical system is barely 100 years old. Frequency healing, sound healing, all these different things have been around for thousands of years. So it just resonates in my body, right? It makes so much sense to me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
It's that short. 1910, they talked about John D. Rockefeller, right? They broke up Standard Oil. So all this millions and millions of dollars at that time that he was making, he needed a way to make more money. Well, what are a lot of these medications made out of? Petroleum. They're petroleum-based.
Byproduct,
yeah. So they went about changing our entire medical system, starting with colleges, changing all of these things to get us to this point where we are now. And what it is to me is, it was an oligarch back then trying to do whatever they had to do that was not in the best interest of all of us to make more money. We're seeing a lot of that in today's world as well, right? And this, BioCoherence, I can take healing into my own hands. I can do this myself. That to me is an incredible thing. So BioCoherence to me is the part of the shift back. right? This is 110 years old. How many thousands, millions of years have human beings been walking around this planet? And we've been doing this medical system for 115 years. We can go back. We can change this, and we can get back to a time when we took our health care into our own hands. We took care of our health, and we relied on what God has given us to heal us. Yeah. So, but here's where you have to be careful, right? And I want to make sure that we're not rejecting that. That may have its place. It may have its place. There's going to be a lot of people that may not want to look into something like this. I know a lot of the friends that I have hear me talk about going to drum circles, and they think I'm nuts, right? But if you get in that circle and you get in a vibe with every other person that's playing those instruments, and you're just in this zone, if you can't experience that, I'm sorry for you, because that's amazing. It's so amazing.
Well, if you break your leg, you're still going to need a mechanic. So
Yeah.
Catholic medicine it's mechanical anyway.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You need casts. You need all of those things. But do you need 10 different pills? I was on medication for anxiety and ADHD, and I weaned myself off those medications, and all of a sudden, I was able to cry again. I serve individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities. I had 2 residents die, one of which I served for a very long time. I did not shed one tear. That medication was numbing me. And now I watch commercials and I tear up, right? But that was a welcome back to me. That's who I am, and I was missing that for so many years, being on those. And I'm not saying that there are people with significant mental health disorders and things like that maybe they need that. I did not need that, but that's what they threw at me. And that's what I wanted, right? The system told me that's what I need. I don't need that anymore. What I need to do is get my feet in the grass, walk around, dance with a tree, and I feel freaking amazing after doing that. It's unbelievable. Distributors are not just sellers. They are partners in a global shift toward coherence, clarity, and care.
Yes.
We are, this is a movement, and now is the time, right? There are so many people that are excited about this and that are interested in this type of healing. I talk to so many people who just on YouTube will listen to 432 hertz or 528 hertz or what. That's a step closer to this right here, right? People doing that is a step closer to this. Beyond frequency-based, biomarker analysis, visual diagnostic screens, universal search and AI mapping, remote scanning. So many of these other frequency devices are huge, they're expensive, and you can't just put it in your pocket like you can do with BioCoherence. That's unbelievable. And this is the part, timing, right? That, to me, I spoke of the divine or God or whatever you want to call it. To me, it is the collective consciousness. It is all that is, all the knowledge, all the everything in that collective consciousness. And it is shifting to the point that people are much more willing to at least hear you out if you want to talk about this with them. I talked to you earlier about calling, and I feel this calling to share this message, to share this spiritual message with just average normal people, right? And I understand that has to be done in a very delicate and deliberate manner. But this can be part of that conversation. What are you doing for your body? What are you doing to heal yourself? Let's talk about biocoherence. Cognitive decline, emotional dysregulation, chronic stress. Several months ago, I was watching some action TV movie, and I thankfully must have been mindful enough in that moment to recognize the way that movie was making my body feel and the tension that was in my body witnessing all this violence and things like that on the television. We are surrounded by that every single day. The news, whatever that may be. So I talk to people about what are you consuming? And I don't just mean your food or what are you consuming in your life? What are you reading? What are you looking at on social media? All of that is affecting our bodies, all of it. BioCoherence isn't just a frequency tool, it's a diagnostic platform that helps practitioners see what's happening beneath the surface. As I've gone through this journey of being a distributor and things, the diagnostic capabilities of BioCoherence are what just comes up over and over and over again. So many of these other frequency devices, they can give you frequencies, right? They can deliver frequencies to you, but they can't tell you what frequencies are right for you. And that's the diagnostic capabilities of BioCoherence that is so exciting to me. This was there was a gentleman, I received a phone call a few weeks ago or so by the name of Greg Buckley, and he is the president of the Alzheimer's Treatment Centers of America. He is looking to build hundreds of Alzheimer's treatment centers in the United States. Hundreds, thousands. He says his analytics say that it's up to 6,000 is sustainable. Wow. And he came to BioCoherence because those treatment centers are going to be frequency based. He's been working with Dan Winter with the Phi-Ray, and Dan directed him for the diagnostic capabilities of BioCoherence. That to me, when I first started this, I'm like, oh yeah, I can sell these to some of my friends, or I can do this or that. This is a game changer. This tells us this isn't small potatoes. This is world changing. But it is really going to be, how do we get this? How do we put this out to people, right? The product is amazing. Our marketing needs to be amazing in how we market this to people. There's so many differences, and you're not going to be able to read that very well. But this is a BioCoherence presentation. So basically what that says is BioCoherence kicks all these other frequency machines' ass. That's what all these things are saying, right? There's enough for all of these things. Several of those might be better at like the Phi-Ray, obviously, getting that into your system and those frequencies into your body. Amazing. But in conjunction with BioCoherence, where you're getting personalized frequencies deliberately based on the readings that came from your body, again, it's a game changer. More statistics of why BioCoherence is so wonderful. I'm not a hop on the bandwagon guy. I'm not this looks great, I'm gonna go. I bought 120 sensors and subscriptions. I didn't do that because I'm just some fly by the seat of my, I kind of fly by the seat of my pants. But when I'm spending money, when I'm spending money, it has to be at least something I believe in, something that I trust. And that, I was 3 months in, I think, to this journey in BioCoherence, and I'm like, I'm in. After I saw that with my daughter and I witnessed these deer ticks, speaking of, we need mosquitoes, please, mosquitoes. What your business with BioCoherence can look like. And I think that is up to all of us, right? My view of what that could be changed 3 weeks ago when I received that call from Greg Buckley. I received a call from somebody else that hasn't really come to fruition yet, but another possible huge, huge thing. The potential is so much out there, whether it's a wellness boutique or whatever that may be. Part of this, to me too, again, a calling that I feel is for humanity. right? How can I do something for humanity? How can I help people? What Greg Buckley and the Alzheimer's Treatment Centers of America want to do for people is amazing. If I can do that for people, just your average person that isn't, can't just afford the high end things, but if I can do that for someone's grandmother, someone's son, that to me is world changing, and that to me is that's my goal. I want to do something for humanity, and this is a vehicle to help drive that for me.
Yeah. There's more of us and not enough of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Brings people together when you're healthy. Yeah.
Isn't that right? Isn't it?
People come together.
People. We are staring at our phones, or we are staring at a computer screen. I think of that old phrase, I know this, I know that, like the back of my hand, right? People used to know the back of their hand because they had time. They had time to look at it, right? People nowadays don't even go to the bathroom without a phone in their hand. When does anyone ever have the time to simply sit with themselves, get to know themselves, ask themselves a question of, is the way that I treated this person the way that I want to treat someone in my life? Is the way this person treated me, was there a reason for it? We don't take the time to do those things anymore. And that to me is a huge problem in our society, and a hope that we can get beyond that.
Get coherent.
Get coherent. Why distributors win with BioCoherence? Unique value proposition, diagnostic healing, broad market, wellness clinic, remote care coaching, ongoing revenue, the sensors, the licenses, the training, community support. There are how many hours of video are there on the internet? And what Medrick talked to us about yesterday was the search capabilities of, I have a question about this, and I can type that in. There will be an article, there will be videos, all these different things to help you along in the process. And as a distributor, that's kind of part of my thing, is like, I want people to be able to use this. That search feature, again, wonderful. So I'm reading a book called Tomorrow's God, and the term, we are all God-godding. It really just struck me. And then I felt that I needed to add to do so mindfully and with intention. So does anybody have any questions, any comments, anything that they'd like to bring up?
Can I come on your next ayahuasca retreat?
Undoubtedly, brother. Undoubtedly. Well, it's a wild world, because now I found it in Madison, Wisconsin. So I don't have to travel to Costa Rica, but I still will. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.